Peace, peace. It's your brother Faheem, and you are now tuned in to the Lead with Logic podcast. You know the vibes. Peace, 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 peace. What's going on, good people? What's going on, good people? I'm your most gracious and humble host, none other than brother Faheem himself. Amen. Welcome back to another great episode of the Lead with Logic podcast. You know, YouTube, y'all know how we do it every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We here posted up live, like my man Quaz used to say, live on the 9-5. I appreciate y'all, man. Everybody who's coming in, everybody who's watching this back, the replay. Amen. Hopefully, you guys are having a awesome Monday, not a blue Monday. Hopefully, the weekend was as good as your last delicious morsel of food that you ate, as your last thirst quenching drink that you drank. All those good things, man. Man, I had such a wonderful weekend. It was really, really awesome. It was really rejuvenative. And by nature, I was able to get home, man, and reconnect with the family. It was dope. It was super dope. You know, life is such a cycle, man, and to be able to sit back and observe it, you know, in a peaceful, tranquil position, and just to be able to spot and be able to recognize its beauty and all its splendor, man, it's something wonderful. So, but big wheel keep on turning, and proud Faheem keep on burning. What can I say? Yes. So today is the 12th of May. Man, the year's rolling by. It seems like these years be going by quick, boy. Ooh, they go by quick. The older you get, young gentlemen, young ladies, you're gonna see that hourglass just eventually, man, you just can't get that joint. It just so fast. It's super duper quick. But but yeah, it's going by quick, man. But so much going on in the world since I've been on. Hopefully, you guys, if you didn't check it out, last week I had a wonderful episode where I interviewed another female entrepreneur, a black female entrepreneur by the name of Shar Blair. Blair Care Home Health. Blair Care Home Health is what she does. And it's pretty dope. You know, she went from CNA to CEO, and now she has her own home health care service that she offers. So y'all should check that out. Go back to my live and you'll see it there. Y'all, in fact, y'all go through all my lives. Like I always tell y'all, man, like we always do about this time. One thing I'm gonna do is tell y'all to support your brother, man, before you support the other man, right? We got good quality products here, right? This is my shirt. This is some of my gear. Y'all hop on the movement, hop on board. Y'all going over to www.leadwithlogic7.com. www.leadwithlogic7.com. Look, we got hoodies, hats, and tees, and whatever it is that you need. Yo, if we ain't got it, we can get it. So go get it while the getting is good. Like Hustle, man, used to say on Martin. But yeah, man. What is going on? So much. So much going on. You know, Diddy's case is going on. His trial officially began a few days ago. Or maybe even today. I'm not sure. It could be today. Welcome whoever that party of one is. Let's see who this is. Somebody. Okay. Yo, yo, yo. What's up? Lee? I see you, free. What it is, big bruh. What it is. What's going on, fella? Hey, man, shoot this out. Listen, that reminds me, wherever you at, wherever you are, just remember that you are a star and keep on shining. Look, what I want you to do, if you're on Facebook, hey, man, repost this, post it to your page. I see y'all. If you are on YouTube, post out the link. Let's get some people up in here, man. Let's get some things going because I'm going to interact with y'all. Y'all interact with me. I'm going to interact with y'all. So I appreciate that, man. Stay on in free. Call the people from X. Post my link to X. What was I saying? Oh, so much going on, man. So much going on. Brother, there he is, brother Ice Cold. I see you, big bro. I see you. Man, so much going on. So much going on. That third person, come on in here. Acknowledge, man. Say what's up. So much been going on, man. Diddy's the big thing. You know, I've been seeing a lot. And I'm going to show y'all some videos, right? Diddy's going on. Diddy's having his trial. You know, it's a brother in Ohio, Cincinnati, Robert Hinton Jr. That also happened. We're going to look at a little bit of that, go over and discuss that. it's just been a lot, man. It's been so much in the mainstream. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of people discussing things, and me myself, the older I get, the less I like to argue. I don't really argue with people no more. I don't because I look, listen, and observe. I try to tap into people's energy and I listen to what people are saying. And then I read up on things that I know. I mean, when you go to functions, you kind of want to make yourself abreast of whatever it is that's going on. Whatever's going on that you know that that group's going to be talking about. If you go to the barbecue, you know they're going to be talking about music. They're going to be talking about mainstream people, black folks, and what's going on. You know, of course, we're going to talk about maybe our advances, how we've been progressing in life, but just typically the mainstream stuff. And so I try to always brush up on these things when I know I'm gonna be in an environment where they could be discussed. And a lot of times, what I find, y'all, is a lot of people don't be knowing nothing, man. A lot of times, people come from an emotional perspective rather than a rational and logical one. Henceforth, the brand lead with logic, right? And that means something. Let me say this too. I love saying this. Lead with logic is a brand of saying in a podcast, right? It's a brand because I have hats, hoodies, and tees and whatever you please. www.leadwithlogic7.com, right? Y'all go support your brother, man, before you support the other man. It's a saying. Lead with logic. Every letter is an acronym, letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation. That is the saying. Lead with logic. When you add a little bit of logic to the mix, amen, you won't be able to fall for no tricks. You dig? And it's a podcast, and that's what you guys are on every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have to make sure that I clarify that because I got people in all area codes, right? I've got those. Yeah, man. But man, I always try to just come out and lead with logic. I try to use my mental faculties more so than my emotions because I'm emotional like everybody else. I'm more inclined I'm just as inclined, I should say. I'm just as inclined as anybody else to go with culturally is comfortable for me. I'm more inclined to do what is, even sometimes gender wise, what is comfortable for me. But when I remove my emotions from the situations, when I remove my ego, right? Things of that sort, that I'm able to really see the picture really clearly. And that's what people don't do. A lot of people, if we would only yet use our logic, our reason, our rationing faculties, man, we could figure a lot of this stuff out. We could figure a lot of it out. I want to play something for y'all real quick that is interesting. Something that, on y'all can follow me on Instagram too. It's Lead with Logic on there. Most of y'all follow me free. I don't know if you follow me. You should follow me on there though if you don't. But all of y'all should. What up? I see you, Aon. Peace, peace, Queen. Man, it's good to see you. We need to have a chat. Yeah, we need to have a chat, man. I need to chat it up with you, see how you doing. Hopefully everything, man, you progressing and you doing the work. You doing the work. Yeah, you said man on what? Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Free. I'm on Instagram. I'm getting ready to pull something somebody set up on Instagram that I think is real relative and it fits what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, what he said. I really want to share this with y'all because I think it's dope. I think it's super dope. But yeah, I hope y'all had a great weekend, man. Hopefully, y'all's mothers, if they're still alive, you know, you tell them you love them because you only get one. Like that song, I'll always love my mama. That's my joint. She's my favorite girl. You only get one. Ladies, they say you could tell how a man is gonna treat you by how he treats his mama. So, this if you celebrate Mother's Day, hopefully you were real good to your mother. I follow the act. I'm under the edict that you could either have a hot plate once a year or you could have a warm plate all year round. Meaning this, I could be real hot for you once a year. Absolutely, Ice. I see you, big bro. You could you could have you could get that affection, that attention once a year, real thick, right? Real heavy, or you could show it all year round. We have to understand, man, that these holidays, all of them, they are all economic boomers. They are all stimulants to the economy. That's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, 4th of July. They mean nothing to the regular man except It means nothing to the regular man. Anything except coming out of your pocket, right? Just come. Yeah, you got to show it daily, Ice. You got to show it daily. That's what people remember. You know what I mean? You got to show it daily. Don't do it just because. I forgot what it was. I think it was Joanna Man, that movie with my man from Life, and Vivica Fox. She had told him like she wanted to get something just because it was Wednesday. Man, you should show your people love just because. You got to show them love just because. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to welcome y'all, man. Get the people in here, man. I really appreciate y'all, man, because my following is really growing. People are coming in and really getting interested in the topics, man. And that means a whole bunch because I have a lot to share. If you've spoken to me on the phone, if you've spoken to me in a space, you know that I love discussing things that have some sort of benefit for us, right? Some sort of uh, reward, something that we can take and use in our lives, not just something just for to talk about, just for shits and giggles. So this is something I'm gonna give y'all, man, real quick, and I'm gonna put another video on. We're gonna go over these videos because I'm gonna kind of talk about what's been going on. The videos are gonna help me, but listen to what he's saying, right, about your emotions. I love this. I saw this. I thought it was so dope. This is representative of my whole show.
Emotions are to be managed, not acted on.
I love when you said, yeah.
And what happens is when we start acting on feelings, because feelings go up and down, we start making decisions that don't have a solid foundation because ain't no fact. So every decision that I make now, I do my best that when I'm making a decision now, I slow down. I always say this. Emotions are to be managed, not acted on.
I love when you said, yeah.
And what happens is when we start acting on feelings, because feelings go up and down, we start making decisions that don't have a solid foundation because ain't no fact. So every decision that I make now, I do my best that when I'm making a decision now, I slow down. I always say this.
I thought he put that beautifully, man. When you make a decision based on just emotions, it doesn't work out because it's not based on anything substantive, right? It's not based on anything solid. It's just based on how you feel. And we understand feelings change, right? We understand feelings change. Now, one thing I'll say is, I hear people, you have to meet those basic needs, right? Hopefully everybody out there is taking care of themselves. The lights are on. You're able to get something to eat. This a little bit past noodles and beans, but hey, noodles and beans works too. You just keep moving up if you have to. But oftentimes I hear people say things like, man, that stuff, I don't get into that. I don't, that I'm worried about other things. And that's true. And I used to say this in the beginning. If you guys listen to my audio, I would always say that like this stuff really doesn't really amount to a hill of beans, or it doesn't affect me personally, right? Per se. But it does a few things, these issues that we're getting ready to discuss. What it does is, number one, it gives you a glimpse into what people's thought process is. Brother just said he don't make no decisions that are based on emotion. When I'm talking to people, I'm listening to people and start talking, I can tell, okay, this person's coming from this place. If it's informed, if it's ill-informed, I can hear it right away. And I'm saying, oh, okay, wow, okay, this is a person that probably might just go with the group think. They might just go with the sheep. Or it's a person that thinks critically and says, okay, I hear what people are saying. They said this, they said that, but I need to look at all the facts and then deduce. That tells me something about how that person navigates the world, right? That tells me the type of reliability I can have or I can expect on that person, right? And it also gives me the temperature, right? To the streets, to the time. It also shows me how I can move, what's going on per se. Like Marvin said, what's going on. It shows me what's going on with people's minds and their hearts, right? How they stand, right? You might have a person, if I understand and I know that you don't you feel a certain type of way about the LGBTQ movement, then I know wisdom tells me, not being scared, not being nervous, wisdom tells me either to stay away from that topic or remember that that's something that you might feel strongly or get emotional about. It gives me insight. So these things give massive insight on how people navigate and how they engage and interpret the world. You can see, listen to people how they talk. Before I put this next video on, I went out real quick today and I was listening to Tariq Nasheed, and he was talking about, I guess, Tariq is on X and it's late at night. I'm on the East Coast. Tariq is on the West Coast. He's on Pacific time. So when he comes on, it's like 1 in the morning for me. But he was on there and he had somebody on his stage, and it was a white cat, and he was talking about Robert Hinton. And the white cat was automatically, he was like, Robert Hinton is guilty. He deserves to die, da 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 da. And Tariq went into, hey, he started giving all the examples of how there have been white assailants, there have been white people who have done the same thing as Robert Hinton and gotten off and gotten away. And regardless of how you feel, because I look at the facts of the Robert Hinton, we're gonna talk about that. But Tariq, what he said was, he brought it out in the young guy, the white guy. He was like, black culture is, you guys are perpetually destructive. OJ Simpson is guilty. And I'm thinking like, okay, so in his mind, he has a bias. Maybe he's telling some truth by default, right? Maybe some of our culture is destructive, just like some of their culture is destructive. But now when you start going overboard and saying things that can be proven to be false, right? Through facts, objective data, and evidence, then you have to say, okay, this dude's not thinking critically. And so you can do that in your everyday life. You can do social experiments like this where you can gain insight and a deeper gauge into how people are thinking and moving. And so, yes, gotta, man, this thing my people be texting. I'm sorry, y'all, but yes, so we're gonna go over some things. I put up something. If y'all watch my clips, I put up clips of my shows. I put up clips of things that are relative to my way of thinking, things that I believe in, things that I know to be true, and things I know to be scientific, things that I know to be divine, meaning right and exact. This is something that I want you guys to check out. He was talking about, this is Choke No Joke. Choke No Joke was affiliated with Rockefeller back in the day. And he was in Atlanta. He was talking to, I forget the DJ's name. He was talking to the DJ. His name, his name will come to my mind. I'm looking for it now. But he's talking to the brother about Diddy and, how the trial is going and things like that. And I was like, wow, he was breaking it down. He was really giving some actual factuals and some really informative and insightful perspective on what we are witnessing with Diddy and what we also saw with R. Kelly. Because what I find is Beehive. That's who it is, Beehive. What I find is our community is splintered and fractured. And the truth, listen, I stand for freedom, justice, and equality. It doesn't matter what color you are, man. If you wrong, you wrong. That's my melanated brothers and sisters. That's my non-melanated brothers and sisters, and everybody else in between. Justice is colorblind, and you should be as well. Now you understand that the society that you live in is not colorblind, and since justice is in the hands of human beings, it will always be some sort of balance or imbalance there. But you, in the way that you think, you can always safeguard and keep your critical thoughts sacred, right? While I recognize that we function and we try to navigate within an unjust system, we still have to be right and exact. We still have to be just in how we deduce things, right? We can't just say, "Oh, he's guilty," just because it's all over the media, right? We have to do a little research. So, Choke No Joke was affiliated with Rockefeller. I'm sure some of you guys know who he is, but he in this interview he breaks some things down. It's 14 minutes. I'm not gonna play the whole 14 minutes, but I want you guys to listen to what he has to say because I think it's super duper important and it's relative to what I'm gonna talk about here today. Right. So let me go ahead and share the screen. I'm also send out some more notifications. Y'all keep on posting. Y'all keep on commenting because I'm gonna answer the comments that y'all bring up there. That y'all say. Here it is. Here it is. Check this out.
What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-High Radio. Shout in as always. I got my podcast partner back off in this thing. Fresh off an island. Choke, no joke. Chicken choke, no joke. What the hell's going on, Choke?
That's Arthur now.
Oh, that's awesome now. Okay, constant elevation is occurring.
Yes. Yeah, man. We went to a few islands. The Choke No Joke travel group.
Yeah.
We are official. Let me shout out all my people. Tasha Rain, Shamika.
Yeah.
Mike and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
LaShawn and Sean.
Yeah.
Max and Whitney. Ortez, Touched by Ortez.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there? Oh God. Tori. Autumn, Laney. Oh man, it was a bunch of us. Shout out to the nurse gang.
Mm-hmm.
There was 200 nurses on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
200 black nurses.
Mm-hmm.
All on. They was a solo, separate group from us, but you know we linked up with them too, and it was beautiful to see that many women go to college and get their degree and become nurses, and then all get together and celebrate each other.
Exactly.
That touched my heart.
Come on now. I mean, Choke, I got to get straight to these current events and what's going on out here in the world, sir. Diddy's trial is about to begin, man. Right now, one of the headlines are saying that, he wants a gag order placed on Cassie's lawyer. And what are your thoughts and what should we be expecting from this trial coming up, man?
Oh, man, we've been waiting for this one. I mean, it ain't take as long because Puff had Diddy put in request for a speedy trial.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of came quicker than normal trials. A New York trial usually take about 2 years before you get started.
Mm-hmm.
So
Listen, paying $14.99 a month for a streaming app and $9.99 a month for a music app and $12.99 for a fitness app and more money.
I don't know, man. It's I don't want to feel like I'm defending Diddy because I'm not. But when you see Rico,
mm-hmm.
right? We just seen Big U get charged with a Rico, right?
Yeah.
How many people got arrested?
Just Big U and a few other folks.
No, it was about 15 of them on that whole thing, right?
That's right.
He may be the only one still in there.
Yeah.
Outside of Brick Baby and Loose Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
But when they gave you the picture of Rico, you seen like his picture and all these
a bunch of mug shots.
Right. For Diddy having a Rico, where is the team? Where's the crew? Where's the business? Where's the organization?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So for that aspect of it, I feel like they're gonna just railroad him like they did R. Kelly. Because R. Kelly got hit with the Rico, right?
Yeah.
And where was his organization? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. R. Kelly went to jail for the Mann Act for trafficking his girlfriends across state lines. Same as Jack Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So Diddy, it's just Cassie. And they charging him with sex trafficking. So he was sex trafficking his girlfriend, right? Who was in a consensual relationship with him for 10 years. Now, if some stuff went on, to me, it looked more of Diddy being a swinger.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie was able to pick the men that she liked and was able to do that. And I'm sure at some point, whatever, things didn't always go smooth between them. But for him to have a Rico for prostitution or like he was selling sex, do we really believe that Diddy had to sell sex and making all this free money off of Diageo with the liquor?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make money from publishing checks, from having everybody's publishing. Like, do I really want to believe that he was selling sex, like sex trafficking? I didn't believe that about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
R. Kelly didn't. Do R. Kelly really need to keep women captive and have them pee and doodle in buckets. And like, come on, bro, none of that was true.
Yeah.
But the perception from the public got R. Kelly 30 years and he's still with one of the same girls.
Whew.
So with Diddy, is this going to be?
He said the perception with the public, right? It got him all that time, and he's going to talk about this perception, the court of public opinion as opposed to the court of law. But it's kind of hard. It's hard to get justice. That's why, if you guys have been keeping up, and I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but if you guys have been keeping up with the Diddy trial, they were having problems getting jurors who were fair and non-partial, right, and didn't have a bias. One person worked for HBO. One person had said something like, had made a comment about Diddy couldn't be innocent. These were people on the jury. But what that is a result or a product of is people going out here having all of these goddamn surviving Diddy this, surviving Neverland, surviving R. Kelly. That's bullshit, man. They shouldn't allow any of that stuff because these are trials that include jurors. A jury has to be fair and impartial. It can't be biased. But how am I not going to be biased when I'm a woman who's been raped? And now I see this all over the damn internet, all over the television. Diddy's guilty. Diddy did this. We see the Cassie video. So that's a form of injustice right there within itself. Stop putting that shit up for people to form, ill-informed or misinformed or disinformed thoughts before the actual evidence and trial comes out. And the media is good for that. They're good for giving you half of a story and expecting you to treat it like it's the whole. But again, that's that whole emotions, not acting on them and getting all of the facts, getting all of the evidence before you ever move forward. And you do this in your day-to-day life as well. This will help you, right? Be a best chess player in life, a best chess player of life.
They just gonna hang him, or are they gonna really prove to us that he was selling sex?
Now, he just got a Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, on the team. I mean, do you think that'll make any difference in this case coming up?
I don't know if it'll make a difference in the case. Will it strengthen his defense?
Yeah.
Yes. Brian Steele's a great attorney. I covered the Young Thug trial
Exactly
from beginning to end, and I felt like Thug probably would have walked had he not took the plea, due to all those different mistrials or, it was so many things that went wrong. And you see at the end, at least two of the guys that stayed on, they were exonerated. They were able to walk.
Yeah.
And I think that would have happened for Young Thug, but I could think he was like, y'all give me time served. I could walk out here tonight, tomorrow. Yeah. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? But Brian Steele is a great attorney. He has experience in dealing with RICO cases, the biggest one in Georgia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He dealt with the biggest trial in Georgia. And for me, I think they was victorious, even though his client pled guilty. But, some of his defense still was exonerated with some of the other guys. You know what I mean?
Okay, so then I also want to ask you back to the Diddy question again. What do you think this trial in this case is really stemming from? Do you think it's stemming from
rats like Gene Dale getting on the goddamn internet and just keep telling these goddamn stories about Diddy? Oh, they was spiking the juice. Oh, he broke.
I'm gonna pause right there because that's super duper important what he's saying, right? It's critically important because what we've seen is when these affluent guys have been persecuted or prosecuted, or they have begun this media onslaught of their character, right? You see a lot of these people that were either in their entourage, their associates, their affiliates, all of a sudden they have all these righteous, indignant stories, right? They're so upset, and Diddy and whoever, it's like, come on, man. I understand it, but hopefully you're willing to get on the stand and not just get behind the camera and get behind the microphone and start spewing it. Because if you're only spewing it for the court of public opinion, What my mind does say, is he trying to protect himself, or is he serious about justice? Does she really have a story? Whatever you say online, since it can be and will be used against you in a court of law, you should be willing, and you should be, what do they say, called, what do they call it, subpoena. You should be subpoenaed to court if they find you were making statements, right? But a lot of times, if people do that, okay, so what was your involvement, right? How were you involved? And again, let me clarify something. I'm not saying what he's saying is untrue. I'm saying that it's absolutely coincidental. It's a eerily coincidental and convenient thing when people will now start coming out after years and years of a quote unquote alleged occurrence. That always is something that never sat well with me. If you guys, it was the same with R. Kelly. All these people came out and talked about how he was the boogeyman, but y'all was right there with him. In the words of Pimp C, if it's good while the money's flowing, then it should be good when it all starts crumbling down. But you shouldn't be able to, like he's saying, rat your way out of it. You shouldn't be able to claim or allege your way out of it. Whatever you say, you should get on the stand and say. Again, that's a just society. I don't want to see shit on the internet that you saying that he did or she did if you're not willing to first go talk to the lawyer, first go talk to the police, first get up on the stand. I would respect it more if I saw you doing these things after you went to court, and you said, look, I testified. I put my ass on the line. It wasn't just me trying to sell a book. It wasn't just me trying to get my butt off the hook. That was a bar. It was actually me trying to do my duty as a human being to help another human being. But I question, is that what we see? Or do we see a lot of ambulance clout chasers? That's what he's talking about.
Oh, Kim Porter knows. Oh, he kicked Misa under the car. Or he painted a picture that made Diddy look like a bad person prior to whenever he got mad at Diddy. It was all about Biggie. The last night Big got killed. And, allegedly he went to Diddy and tried to squeeze him for some paper, and Diddy told him, eat these nuts. And he said he was going to go up against the Empire State Building, which was Diddy. And allegedly he went and on this campaign that opened the door for people to look at Diddy in a different light. And then you got Cassie sitting on the sideline like, oh, really? You know, because if you look at her paperwork, she mentions Gene and some of the things that he was saying. Yeah. And then you got, dude, Roger Bond. Yeah. Is that his name? Yeah, Roger Bond, right? The security guard,
I think.
Yeah, right. He went on a tangent on Diddy and how Diddy was this bad guy, because when Diddy didn't want to give him money for his son that's locked up in Africa. So them telling these stories set it a precedent for people to start looking at Diddy in this foul light, right? Where the Jeans, the Roger Bonds, those dudes are no different from Angelo Clary, Alex Clary, Tim Savage, who, the people that created the narrative around R. Kelly, that he was this monster, which sparked the Surviving R. Kelly series, which brought the attention to Homeland Security to swoop down on R. Kelly, because these people who their daughters were in relationships with R. Kelly, now that they got cut off financially, you know what I'm saying? Now, oh, he kidnapped my daughter, this, that, and the third. These women were already, they young women, but they were already emancipated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They weren't underage. They was 21, 20, 22, whatever. And now that the parents couldn't get no money out of them and they are growing and on their own, they created this false narrative that R. Kelly was kidnapped them and it went on this whole campaign. Then all these other women jumped on it, and then they came out and everything. And then boom, here come Homeland Security. Now R. Kelly doing 30 years. Woo.
Did you know that AI is set to create 97 million new jobs by 2025? These.
Here go, and the stuff that they was accusing R. Kelly of, the statute of limitations was up. Exactly. So they hit him with the Mann Act, and then they hit him with the RICO to supersede the statute of limitations. Boom. Same thing with Diddy, right? Yeah. So Diddy is just the blueprint, the R. Kelly blueprint. But instead of Angelo Clary, Alice Clary, the Savages, you got Gene Deal, Roger Bond, and then now you got people like Dawn Ricard and all these people now, they want to come and say all this bad stuff about Diddy, you know, and it opens the door to an assault case or domestic violence, which is really what happened with Cassie. The statute of limitations is up on that, right? That happened over 10 years ago. All y'all motherfuckers was still partying with this nigga after that video. Y'all just ain't see the video.
Yeah.
But he wasn't this monster. Even because you didn't see the video, y'all still was partying up with him up until the allegations came out. Then when they dropped the video, oh, he's this monster. All y'all was just partying was 6 months ago. Excuse me. Before y'all seen this video.
Yeah.
Right? So now, here you go. Everybody start piling on what Gene and Roger Bond and all these other guys built, right? And now they, oh yeah, I seen them hit Cassie. Oh yeah, I knew about the Misa. Painted this picture, made them look worse, and I'm not defending them. I'm just saying how the case is being built. What happens? Homeland Security, they start doing Surviving Diddy, right?
Yeah.
TMZ did it. 50 want to do one. This person did it. This person did it. Same blueprint, R. Kelly. Now Homeland Security do what they do. Same thing they did with R. Kelly. They ran up in R. Kelly house. What did they find? Nothing. Went down there, the Homeland Security run up in Diddy house. What did they find? Baby oil. So they say nothing.
Answer me this though, Choke. All of these people that have done pod.
I'm gonna stop right there because I told you I wasn't gonna play too much of it, but I like the way Choke broke it down because he basically gave you a format to what we saw happening, and he connected it with R. Kelly. I've always said I thought that R. Kelly was railroaded. You know, that's been a huge item of conflict and argument in the Black community. People going either against or for R. Kelly. It doesn't seem to be any in between. For me, again, I've seen too many people, too many people who have done far worse, who have had far more concrete evidence, you know, be let go, right? And when you look at the specifics of that case, man, it was horrible. And that's not to say that R. Kelly is a nice guy or that I even like the person that he is. I don't. But that doesn't matter when you're talking about justice, right? When you're talking about a man's life. Because again, they vilified him in the public. You know, they allowed a whole lot of things, these charges, the RICO Act is what they got R. Kelly on. They allowed him to be prosecuted under that. And now he's sitting in jail, and he's still with one of the young ladies that they claimed he had abducted, kidnapped, and raped, and all of that good stuff. So, but yeah, I just thought that Choke No Joke was saying bared a whole lot of weight. Diddy's trial starts. One thing that's funny to me about what's going on in the Diddy trial, and Choke No Joke mentioned it, y'all. He said how, you know, they show you this whole Cassie thing. You know, I remember that. I remember seeing that Cassie thing, and again, telling my family, like, so this thing with Cassie happened years ago. Why are they showing this now? What's the relevance of this? Why would they show it and she'd been paid? Listen, that's another thing, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something. You don't get no sympathy if you went to the civil court and won, right? Go take your earnings. You've now forfeited any real justice. What you're saying is, remember, the civil court is almost a claims court where you damn near don't need a whole lot of evidence. It's the preponderance of guilt. It's not guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. See, some people would argue, I would say, hell, even in a criminal trial, there's bias. There has been bias. History teaches us that it has been biased toward Black men in general, right? So, you know, if at the highest court where you need damn near beyond the shadow of a doubt, that means 90% of the evidence points to the person, the assailant, the defendant is guilty. If they're biased and they're allowing people to get prosecuted and persecuted up under that, what does that mean they'll do when it's the preponderance? When it has to just appear or it has to look like a crime has been committed, right? You know what I'm saying? So when she took her 30 million, I mean, that was that. I can't. Hey, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. No one deserves to be beat. Whoop. We're not for the whooping of women. We're not for the beating of people, the oppression of people. No, not at all. But when you reported it, homegirl, you took the money and then you stayed with Puffy. That was another thing. You stayed, right? You got paid for that ass whooping and you stayed at that. So I'm not the guy that's gonna be perpetually persecuting a brother or sister. And then I'm like Dr. Umar, point blank, period. Hey man, my first thought is not to follow the group think about these affluent black men, affluent black women, whoever it is. Really, it don't matter. Really, it matters not the amount of melanin that they have, but especially that's just being a student of history, y'all. That's not a bias. That's not being impartial. That's being a student of history. If we go down the line, all of the black men who have been railroaded. The man came back and said he lied about Michael Jackson, right? They threw dirt on that man's name in death. And now people still act like Michael Jackson is a convicted molester and rapist and pedophile of children because of the media scandal and that slander campaign. So let's not act like this country, this world that we live in is not capable of doing such things. But I never, 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 Umar says it best. I never, ever, ever just go with whatever the group is saying against my people when I know how my people are treated in the judicial system. It just don't go like that, y'all. If we wrong, sure. But nah, I'm not going out like that. One more thing I'm gonna let y'all see. What time? 8:41. One more thing I'm gonna let y'all see. TMZ did a little write-up. TMC did a little write-up. Let me get this. I'm gonna show this to y'all. They did a write-up. I want y'all to see it. Welcome, man. Welcome. It's 80 y'all in here. Hey, listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Wherever you at, wherever you are, I appreciate you. Oh my God. Smokey Robinson. I forgot all about Smokey Robinson. Byron Scott as well. Hey man, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So now I'm not supposed to listen to Smokey Robinson. You out your damn mind. I was listening to Quiet Storm early. You short circuit on my night. That's my jam, man. You crazy. But I did see Smokey Robinson. Yes, I forgot about that. Ice. Thank you. Smokey Robinson and Byron Scott. Whew. I'm gonna just play a short clip of Diddy. It's gonna be quick because I forgot all about them, man. Yes, when I saw that, I was like, wow. 23 years this is supposed to have happened. It's gonna be a short clip of TMZ. Just a little bit about what they're saying about the diddler, as they call him. Listen, it's 80 y'all in here. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate y'all rocking out. Y'all got y'all on YouTube, man. Instagram. Y'all go follow me on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Listen, man, I appreciate. Head on over to www.leadwithlogic7.com. We got hats, hoodies, and tees, and whatever else that you please. Hey, man, get with us, man. Talk to us in the comments. You know, I'm replying. I'm responding back. This is a conversation, man. I know right now it's seemingly a monologue, but guess what? If you guys participate, it can become a dialogue. This right here is TMZ Live. They're going over. If you watch, TMZ is something else. TMZ is kind of like half news, half comedy, half commentary. I watch it, but I definitely don't end my research with TMZ. But I do get the general information from TMZ. This clip right here, I'm gonna make it short because I'm gonna go into the other clips about Smokey and Byron Scott. But this TMZ clip is gonna talk a little bit about what's been happening in the courtroom with P. Diddy. So y'all pay attention.
Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here. Charles here. The Diddy trial is underway. There have been opening statements, and there is now testimony in the case. And the opening statements kind of predictably laid out the prosecution's case and Diddy's defense.
But what the prosecutors started with a bang, with a statement that clearly they knew would get a lot of headlines, but more importantly, get the attention of the jury, talking about details, graphic details from the freak-offs. And
We should warn the
Yeah.
people watching this. This is going to get graphic.
right, there's a reason that they last week kept saying that to all the prospective jurors, it will be graphic. What was said this morning by the prosecution said that Diddy hired escorts for these freak-offs, and that it wasn't just sex. There were other acts that were going on. The one they said that really got everyone's attention, they claimed that he hired escorts, on one occasion, hired an escort and forced him to urinate on Cassie. And that he forced not only the escort to do this, but Cassie is the way the government lays it out.
So we talked about this in our morning meeting today. So let's just be real here. This is shades of R. Kelly. And
There's
that
the reason they brought that up first.
I mean, I don't think there's any question that R. Kelly paints a picture that kind of resonated with everybody. And the prosecution came out of the gate with something that
They-
sounded similar.
They want to show him, they want the jury to see him see Diddy parallel to R. Kelly, who everyone knows is going to be in prison for almost all the rest of his life.
And so,
And so if you got him convicted,
of course, and that's
you want it right.
and that's effective.
Yeah.
They also, and I think this is going to become a really important part of this case on both sides. The prosecution painted Diddy as a violent, jealous man who could not handle any attention heaped on Cassie by any other man.
Right. And that was part of their argument around the videotape, which obviously they mentioned as well. They talk about that beating, and the government was setting up what they know that Diddy's side is going to say this was not about forcing her to stay. This was an argument about jealousy, about she thought I was,
but
found another phone number. So the government is trying to rebut that already. Right?
Well, yeah,
Saying,
and the defense already came out of the gate in their opening statements addressing that, and they are saying that Diddy is a violent man. They said that he has a huge anger issue, controlling his temper.
they said there's domestic. Yes, they said yes, there was domestic
That's
violence.
the key. That's the key. They are saying that this relationship was steeped in domestic violence. And they're alleging on both sides it was the nature of their relationship. Now, domestic violence is a crime, but it's a state crime. He's not being prosecuted
That's not
for
what
that.
He's being prosecuted
So
for. And they
that's
also
where-
reminded the jury of that.
And that's
I'm gonna stop it right there. But it's interesting that they're allowing this whole Cassie ordeal to be involved. That they're even letting her case or letting her all those particular. Somebody could leave it in the comments. That's crazy because her case was already closed, right? She had been paid off. So it's almost, isn't that like double jeopardy? It's almost like double jeopardy for you guys. And maybe the law can do that. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I would love for somebody to speak up. It's 8 of us in here, 9 of us with me. But it's interesting that they're trying to relate it. Like I said, that's why we have to always think in a continuum, right? Because what you saw was the court of law is trying to connect Diddy to R. Kelly. They're trying to, it's the same RICO charges. It's the same. Why wouldn't y'all expect that when they did the same thing to Bill Cosby? I see you, A. Absolutely. I see you, big dog. It's the same thing that they did. It's the buildup, like Choke No Joke said, right? It's the same formula. You have people making these videos. You have women or people, accusers, piling up all of this information. And now here it is in court. They're trying to make him out to be violent. They're trying to make him out to be a monster, right? They have to dehumanize you before they destroy you. Now, what's interesting, I want y'all to remember this. Red herring, absolutely. What I want y'all to remember is this. We absolutely saw that there was some domestic abuse happening, right? But 2 things can be true at once. The other case that there was a lot of domestic violence involved, that they wanted to accuse him of a murder. Rest in peace, our brother O.J. Simpson. See, when you look back at that case, like Diddy, like R. Kelly, they might have been abusers. They might have been violators of domestic abuse, but that don't make you a murderer though. That don't make you a rapist. And it don't make you a cat that's selling ass, right? It does not. So what they're doing is they're using all of this information. What it sounds like they're doing is they're using all of this obsolete information, right? That's not necessarily to the point of, hey, where does they're trying to group they're trying to say he ran a criminal organization. What is the domestic violence? How does that correlate to RICO, right? Racketeering influence crime organization. How does that all relate in? How does it come back in? How does it pull that in? Connect the two, because they're not making any connections. And this case has already been resolved, right? But it was the same thing with O.J. Simpson, right? People were mad, right? When you listen to people talk about O.J. Simpson, and he was whooping Nicole. He absolutely was. I saw the police images of her with a perforated eye, with a black eye that had been black and shut. He was whooping her butt. He was, but he didn't kill her though. See, and what I'm trying to say is they're bringing out all this information, it seems, and they're trying to use this to establish he was this guy who was capable of a crime organization or running a crime organization and selling women. Puffy, from the charges that I read in deposition, Puffy was just buying sex. He was a facilitator. He was buying prostitutes, and it was all consensual. Everybody knew what was going on. You know, it's it's a lot of freaks in that industry. In fact, painting a picture, that's right. But Alvin made a good point before I go forward. Why wouldn't y'all expect that when they did the same thing with Bill Cosby? They absolutely did the same thing with Bill Cosby. They absolutely did the same thing. And he was innocent, all the way innocent. And I just remember the tirade, all of everybody had something to say bad about Bill Cosby. I mean, they were talking big shit about Bill Cosby. Even I've said this before several times. It was disheartening that black media turned their back on Bill Cosby, not because Bill Cosby wasn't a jerk, because comedians say that Bill Cosby can be an asshole. He did not like that Martin Lawrence. He did not like that Eddie Murphy brand of comedy that made black people looked like we were less than respectable. But again, two things can be true at once. Bill was a heavy contributor to HBCUs. Bill was a person who was very, very influential in the psychology of black people and how we saw ourselves. Y'all don't know it, but the Cosby Show helped to shape the minds of black people back during that time. We were going to black colleges. We were listening to black music. I mean, it didn't all happen in a vacuum, right? But he was a huge contributor to our culture of consciousness, our culture of 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 being progressive and being proud and being intelligent, right? That was Bill Cosby. So Bill Cosby had a document signed. Yes, during the deposition, nothing could be used against him, and they did anyway. Absolutely, Alvin. Absolutely. It was a whole, and if you watched, he's right, Alvin's right. And when you watched, I watched when they actually released him, that Supreme Court in Pennsylvania said, first of all, why were these women allowed to even, why was their testimonies even allowed into the courtroom? Didn't he have a document that said he could not be prosecuted? That was the only reason. And when you look back, that prosecutor said it was either have him talk or nothing. He didn't have to talk, but he said he figured Bill might say something, but they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing on Bill Cosby. And it was some finagling. It was a mess. It was like the prosecutor becomes the judge. The judge now has a vendetta, and they start legally allowing you to use these loopholes in the law, and they got an innocent man locked up. That's why I say I'm one who still bump R. Kelly. I'm one that believe that if R. Kelly should be locked up, them girls and their parents should be locked up too. He didn't have to listen. I know dudes who was boulevard celebrities and they had no problem getting ass from chicks. None. So a cat that's established with money, and that's not to say that people can't be monsters, right? That's not what I'm saying. But what they accused him of, what they got him for, and why they threw him in jail for the amount of time, nah, it's a straight railroad. It's a fix. Jeffrey Epstein Island, absolutely. That's something else. The Epstein Island, you don't hear about that, and that goes back to. And I'm gonna move forward to the next thing, which is Byron Scott of the old school Showtime Lakers. He was a shooting guard with the Lakers. But when you think about Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Island, right? The thing that always is interesting to me about the difference that I see in the media and how the media portrays different ethnic groups and their offensive, right? Whenever it seems to be, whenever it's a black person in the media, man, they get the billboard marquee. They get the prime time coverage. I mean, it's all over the place. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But you didn't hear much about Epstein. You didn't hear much about Epstein Island. People were very, very hush hush. You didn't see. There might have been a couple of groups that were against Epstein, but not to the point where it was like, I didn't see an Epstein Island documentary, right? I didn't see any. I didn't see the cat from the Today Show that was the women was coming in there, man, and locking he would tell them to come in. And he had a button up on his desk, and he would press the button and lock them in. You didn't hear a whole bunch. It wasn't this onslaught like it is with brothers like Bill Cosby and Diddy and R. Kelly. You didn't see that. It was one. It was one with Epstein, Jeffrey. What's going on? I see you on Instagram. I'm on Instagram too, y'all. If y'all want to join my Instagram, I'm over there too. What's going on? Peace. But I didn't see it, but it could have been. But even if it was, it just didn't. I don't see collectively. I don't see anybody getting the type of coverage and the slander that we get, that a lot of black men get. I mean, hey, if you're gonna do it even all around the board, then it's like, okay, whatever. I can dig that. I can. It's just, it's impartial. If you in the news, you just in the news. But next up is Byron Scott, man. I'm gonna let you guys hear it. It's kind of crazy what is going on with this. It was out there, except under the rug, high profile. Yeah. Hold on, I'm about to turn this on. This is Byron Scott. Byron Scott played for the Showtime Lakers. That was the best Lakers to me. I know everybody like Shaq and Kobe. Hell, Shaq and Kobe was in my era, but Magic and the Lakers saved the NBA. But Byron Scott played, right? Byron Scott played later on. And he has a lot going on with him, man. He right now he was accused. I'm trying to get this together. He was accused of rape, and I'm gonna let you guys check it out for yourself.
A woman is suing former NBA player and coach Byron Scott, alleging that he sexually abused her during a high school function in 1987. Scott was 26 at the time, and the complainant was 15. The lady charges the now 64-year-old Scott with false imprisonment and sexual battery, according to court documents that USA Today Sports was able to obtain. Under the California Child Victims Act, which extended the time limit for survivors of childhood sexual abuse to bring civil claims, the initial case was filed in 2022. In order to avoid having his identity appear on the records, Scott asked to be referred to as John Doe. After the Lakers visited the accuser's high school, Campbell Hall High in Los Angeles, where she was enrolled in summer courses, the lawsuit claims that she was sexually assaulted by Byron Scott in a locked janitor's closet in the high school gymnasium. The crew spoke with instructors, parents, and students while filming basketball instructional videos in the school gym. "Our client is devastated by this complaint," said Linda Bauermeister, Scott's lawyer, in a statement. "Until 35 years later, our client thought the plaintiff was older than 18, and she was unaware that she would make a claim to the contrary. The accusations have caught him and his family off guard because he respects women and girls." Campbell Hall High School is also named as a defendant in the lawsuit, which alleges negligence on the part of the institution for failing to protect the accuser and demands a jury trial and $25,000 in damages, attorney fees, and lost wages from Scott and the high school. Bauermeister claims her client believed the girl was of legal age and does not dispute that the sexual activity took place. Scott played for the Lakers from 1983 to 1993, winning 3 NBA championships during the Showtime era, and finished his career with the team in 1996 to 97. He was married to his first wife, Anita, with whom he had 3 children at the time of the incident. He has since divorced and remarried. He also played for the Indiana Pacers and then Vancouver Grizzlies, and after his playing days were over, coached with the New Jersey Nets, New Orleans Hornets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Lakers.
Yeah, somebody on Instagram, my man said, wow, 1987. Yeah, 1987. That's how long ago. That's how long ago it goes back. And he admitted, right? You heard it. You heard in that report, he admitted that they did have sex. And something like that happened. He said he didn't. Yeah, B. Scott. He said he didn't realize that she was underage. She was taking classes. She only wants $25,000. Y'all see that? That's crazy. But you got to be careful. And I kind of see how that happened with Byron Scott, because a lot of this shit just now start popping up. Like I assume it was always happening, right? On some level. It was always happening. Black men were always getting accused of rape or sexual assault with women. But, you just now starting to see it's popping up left and right. And it's going back 20 plus years, which is nuts. Like my man said on the Instagram page, like, damn, 1987? But again, Judge Joe Brown said it best, man. The law has been structured where it's loopholes in it that would allow people to now come with these charges, right? And it's only to get a payday. It's only to get a payday, right? When people are made aware of what they can do, if you can beat the system, why not? Again, like I always tell people, I don't blame the player, I blame the mayor. In this instance, it's the law that is allowing these people. I said a smear campaign for black men. That's what it is. The law, it's a legal lynching, right? That's all it is. The law is allowing things like this. Now, how are you going to prove? I mean, like, it's crazy, but it's another one I'm gonna bring out, man. I asked for this one, and I had forgotten all about this. Smokey Robinson, old Blue Eyes. It's difficult for me, man, but nonetheless, Smokey was accused of raping, sexually assaulting. They saying Smokey was a monster, and it was all the maids. And this is something that was happening for an extended period. What I saw, I wanted to say it was like 25, 23 years, something like that, 23 years or something, where Smokey was, assaulting these maids, right? He was terrorizing the maids. But I'm gonna play it for you and let you guys see, because Smokey, I was like, wow, Smokey Robinson, really? Smokey Robinson. Well, I'll be damned. It ain't safe no more. Nobody's safe. Welcome, y'all. Welcome. I see the 8. I see it the 5. Let's get it on right here. Let's see. Yeah, Smokey Robinson. Smokey has to be in his 80s. He has to be in his 80s. But I'm gonna let you guys check it out, man. This is wild. This is wild. Woo. I appreciate you rocking with me on Instagram.
So a civil lawsuit against Smokey Robinson paints a dark picture of alleged abuse and control. Gigi Graciette is in Chatsworth now with what 4 women say happened over 17 years. Good morning.
Good morning, Jen. Good morning, everyone. All four women in this lawsuit say they worked here at Smokey Robinson's Chatsworth home behind this gate. This is a gated community. Take a look at the video. This lawsuit was filed on behalf of the women who were not named. They're just being listed as Jane Does. It was submitted to LA Superior Court yesterday. Three of the women appeared at a press conference masked and again choosing to remain anonymous. They are seeking, say their attorneys, a total of $50 million in damages. Now, according to the lawyers, the women accused Smokey Robinson and also his wife, Frances, of sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment. One of the incidents named in the complaint alleges that Robinson would often summon the women to his, quote, blue bedroom, and there he would assault and rape them. As to why the women didn't come forward sooner, their lawyers say they were scared of the Robinsons, and they were also fearful of jeopardizing their immigration status.
These women were all low wage earners living from paycheck to paycheck. They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped.
Now, the reason Robinson's wife, Frances, is named in the lawsuit, attorneys say, is because they believe she knew about the alleged sexual misconduct and did nothing to stop it. They also say she created a hostile work environment and made the women work 60 plus hours a week with no overtime pay. Now, we have reached out to representatives of Mr. Robinson for a comment. So far, there has been no public statement and no reply to our request. As for the singer, according to his website, he maintains a very active concert schedule and is scheduled to perform at a casino in Biloxi, Mississippi on Friday. Reporting live, I'm Gigi Graciette. Back to you.
Okay.
My man on Instagram said they allowed it in quotes for 17 years and now just coming forward. So now all of a sudden, Smokey Robinson has turned into the United States and they want to prosecute him for it. That ain't nothing new. America's always used immigrants, people that come in to do their dirty work, right? And I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm saying that he made them work 60 hours. They didn't want to work their job. Listen, that's what America does. That's what this country's built on, ain't it? Capitalism, right? Profiting and benefiting off the backs of others. And that's to the people who will try to criticize Smokey for him, right? If you got workers and you working the hell out of them, that's what they do in America. That's not to say what Smokey, that's what he was doing at all. That's what they claim. These are allegations. These are claims, y'all. And again, the lawyer talking about, he said it, right? Anytime I tell my kids this, I tell people this. Anytime you have a belief, anytime you have a theory, that don't mean nothing. Hey, man, a theory is something that somebody thinks. There's theory, then there's practice. Your belief, that's just what you believe internally. That's nothing that's shown and proved. Objective fact is something that you can show and prove. Data, qualitative, quantitative. This is data. What you have now is people who are coming forward claiming that Smokey Robinson did something. Just like insurance. You can't call your insurance company and tell them you was in an accident. Let me cash out on my contract. They're going to be like, nah, we need to show and prove. Think about it like that, y'all. This is a claim that has to be investigated. But again, there it is, Smokey Robinson. That's kind of diabolical too, because, you know, with all the, what's going on, Cool Keith? With all of the issues with immigration right now, right? This is diabolical for them to use that these were immigrants that were depending on this money. That's a form of smearing Smokey to the public. See, Smokey Robinson don't give a damn about immigrants. This is the reason why. Look at him, how he's using those Hispanic women. He's screwing them Hispanic women. Listen, I wonder would, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby by his maid. Y'all remember that? He was sleeping with his maid. That maid, I was like, damn, Maria Shriver didn't see when that maid's boy came in there talking about, yes, you know, she couldn't see the resemblance. People been sleeping with the maids for a while. But I mean, again, I don't know what happened. But I mean, 17 years is a long time. That's a long time for you to be sexually assaulted in the blue room and not say anything. Alvin said, call me a conspiracy theorist, but what was he about to do that's significant? That's something else. Good, very good statement, Alvin. You know, and Antonio, if you want to jump over on YouTube, man, I'm on YouTube, Lead with Logic. You can join in the conversation over there. You come on over, man. Lead with Logic on YouTube, and you'll see me. I'm live. So hit that like and subscribe button. But absolutely follow. I made a post. What up, Rico? I made a post about Diddy when the Diddy shit first started on my man on Fanbase, and it said follow the money, not the headlines. I think where Alvin is going with this is he's saying significant. Typically, all of these men, all of these affluent brothers, they were doing, or they did, or they attempted something of some sort of economic uh magnitude. Bill Cosby once tried to buy NBC. Michael Jackson does not get enough credit for being the shrewd businessman that he was. Michael Jackson pissed a lot of people off when he bought the Sony catalog because he owned not just rhythm and blues music. He owned all music, and he was trying to buy the rights to Marvel. Michael Jackson was trying to do what they eventually end up doing. He was trying to create movies. He was trying to create generational wealth and capitalize off of the Marvel brand. He had a vision already. That makes you a threat. Whenever you start to now uproot or turn over the economic infrastructure, you're going to now start to see things happen to you. If you choose to go back day after day, knowing what he's about to do, I don't think that's a rate. That's a relationship. Exactly. I mean, I think about if it was my daughter, or if it was my sister, if it was my mother, would I support him? I would, but I would say, listen, the first thing we're going to have to answer is, why did we allow this to go on? If this was so brutal, if this was so harsh, why did we allow this to go on for so long? I mean, to the point where it was like damn near over almost 2 decades. You have to be able to answer that. Exactly. Michael owned 50% of Sony, and I believe it went back to the company after he died. It did. They sold out of state album for 75 mil, bro. Go look that up. Mike was heavily under. Hey man, listen. When Mike didn't play ball, remember all those allegations against Mike were none of them were proven. He wasn't convicted of none of it. But it started happening around the time he got more shrewd in business. So their strategy was, and his pops, everybody didn't like Joe. Joe said it. Joe said it was that insurance company. They were in business. They were in cahoots with the other big business with Sony. They had all of those different people to come forward, right? They backed these people. Hey, Michael Jackson, that would drain his resources, right? That would drain his resources. And once he didn't have any resources, he would have to give up his assets. He would have to give them back because they were trying to bankrupt the man. It was a slander campaign, right? It was absolutely a slander campaign, which is what we see. We saw with Bill Cosby. But y'all know what what's upsetting about our affluent black men is we kick them down. We don't even have the wherewithal to just say, let's just let the facts come out, and then we can start with how we feel about them. As soon as the accusation comes out, I can't stand Diddy. I knew Will Smith's happy big head ass was a fag. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. We don't think, and that's to me, that's disheartening. It's like, damn, we can't even give our people no justice. We can't even give them the benefit of the doubt. That means we're ill-informed about the system. That makes us low-hanging fruit. If we don't come to each other's rescue to at least give us justice, who will? Right? But you're absolutely right. That's a magnificent point, Alvin. Whenever you see these things, brothers and sisters, whenever you see people coming after these men, or they start having this trouble. Even with R. Kelly, they said R. Kelly was starting to want to own his masters, right? You start seeing when they start to disrupt the economic foundation that exists in this capitalistic world that we live in, then you'll start seeing trouble come these men's way. Rashad said Prince too. Yep, Prince too. And it's the Sanders, right? If she too. Yep. With Prince, I was surprised. Yeah, Prince fought. He did. Prince, remember he changed his name. You hear artists all the time say that he didn't want to work with none of them. Nas said he wanted to work with Prince. And Prince said, "Do you own your masters?" And he said, "Nope." He said, "Nope, I can't do it." It wasn't that he didn't want to work with Nas. He didn't want to. He didn't want the record company to have any type of agency or control over anything that he did. It wasn't until Prince died that you could even listen to his music on YouTube. Do y'all remember that? Before Prince died, if you typed in a Prince song, it wouldn't even play. He wasn't fooling with the record labels at all. They didn't have no type of access. I think he only did business with Tidal, with Jay-Z. That was the only place you could go and stream Prince's music was Tidal, and that was black owned. He didn't want nothing to do with the major corporations. He didn't, but he didn't have his paperwork together either, right? Because he didn't have a living will. He didn't have a living will. And it's lessons, right? There are, let me say this, for everybody I'm discussing, and I haven't even gotten to Robert Hinton yet. I'm gonna speak about him. But with these cases with these brothers, Diddy, R. Kelly, Mike, there has to be some sort of accountability involved. We can't just say they were railroaded, but there are always signs, right? If you're aware, there are always signs. They say pride come before the fall. Well, there are always signs to show you. And whatever you're doing, when you're behind on your bills, you'll get that call from the company saying, hey, you need to do this. Life is the same way, right? You get a call, your common sense. There are things that begin to happen, things that you see that you ignore, and it sets you up for the fall. We have to be mindful of, when we're a celebrity and we have this money, we have to be mindful of how we move and the people around us, right? We can't, our niceness can become our weakness. That's what Katherine Jackson said about Michael. She said, I knew that they were going to strangle Michael through his weakness. I knew they were going to use children to persecute him. And they're going to use your vices. If you like women, right, they're going to use women to strangle you, right? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the last trick that the devil will use will be his woman. And we see that, right? We see all these cases. Jonathan, it ain't just Shannon Sharp. It's Nate Robinson. Y'all remember Nate Robinson from when he made that movie Birth of a Nation? Y'all remember Nate Robinson? You don't see Nate Robinson no more, do you? The white girl accused Nate Robinson. You have Jonathan Majors, the white girl. She accused him. He lost the Marvel, right? And here it is again. Here we got Shannon Sharp. These are signs. You have to kind of look. You have to say, wait a minute, what am I doing? How am I moving? Let me be careful because they could easily use this to take everything, and then my family be left with nothing, right? So yeah, on the accountability end, brothers and sisters, we have to make sure that we are moving with wisdom and understanding, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, but really being wise, though. Really being wise. I said he was on Spotify, then it was legally blocked until after his death. He might have been. I don't really rock out with Spotify. I mean, my podcast is on there. Y'all can listen to my podcast on there, but I just remember when I would try to go to YouTube, man, it would always give me that copyright, and it would always be blank. You couldn't really listen to Prince, and I was like, when I first heard it, of course, I was upset because Prince is one of my favorite artists. But when I read into it, I was like, yeah, that's what's up. Look at when everything happened to Diddy. When everything happened to Diddy was when he sued that liquor company, Diageo, and won. That was when stuff started going down for Diddy, right? When he beat that liquor company. And he beat him fair and square. But, man, the next thing is Robert Hinton Jr. So Robert Hinton Jr.'s son, Rodney Hinton, was in a stolen vehicle. Him and other. Well, I didn't research this, but I went to the barbershop and we were talking about, the barbershop, we talk about everything. Shout out to my guys in the barbershop. Ladell, Rico, who was on here, 86 Spades, Ted, and Juice. We always have a good time, man. When we're in the barbershop, we always chop it up. But the barber was telling me that the car was their car, but I guess it would have been repossessed. There was some, and again, this isn't anything I read. Let me preface it with that. This is something that somebody told me. So this could absolutely be it could be a false claim. But now, so that was his car. But of course, we know this is in Cincinnati. The police get into a chase with him. There's 4 of them. One of them jumped out, which was Hinton Jr. Rodney Hinton. The police kills him. The next day, Robert Hinton, his father, goes into the police station, him and his mother, him and the boy's mother. They watch the tape and he's distraught. And he leaves there. And this is in Cincinnati. And he goes and he sees a policeman at the stoplight, and he mows him down. He kills him. He runs him down. And now he's on trial. I didn't hear about it till it's a video. I'm gonna show y'all the video. It's a video of him walking out of the courtroom, looking at the cops crazy, right? And it's like, whoa. And everybody's discussing this thing, right? Everybody's discussing this thing, and it's pretty big. People are talking about this as if it's some sort of retribution. It's some sort of retribution for a lot of the oppression that we have been dealing with at the hands of police through the years, right? I look at it a little bit different. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. There was a movie called A Time to Kill, and I'm looking for it, y'all. Okay, here we go. I want to show y'all this. There was a movie called A Time to Kill, in which what's my man? Absolutely classic. Samuel Jackson, Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, Donald Sutherland, Keith Sutherland, Charles Dutton. They're all in the film. His daughter's raped, urinated on, and then they threw her over the ditch to kill her. And she had been sent to the store by herself. And when it got back to Carl Lee, or Sam Jackson's character, he went to Matthew McConaughey and asked if he would help him first. And then he posted up in the stairwell of the courtroom where they were to appear for arraignment the next day. And he had a machine gun. When they walked up the steps, his eyes opened that he saw nothing but red. He went up in there and handled business. Now, when I initially heard about Hinton, the boy, I can't lie, I was emotional. I'm a human being. And I thought to myself, that's what that cop gets. Yeah. I immediately went to, he mowed down the cop that did that to his boy. Again, I hadn't read anything. But when I went back and read, that wasn't the cop. I said, oh. Then I went back and read and I said, well, let me be even realer. Did the boy actually have a gun? Had he done something wrong? Was he trying to shoot? I mean, he didn't have to kill the boy, right? But cops are trained to shoot to kill. And we've seen where they haven't killed People, their own, absolutely. But generally, they are taught to kill. So I said to myself, was he really in a righteous position? The boy? And I said, But I want y'all to see this real quick. And I'm going to keep going with that. It's pandemonium in there. Pure pandemonium. And when you look at a lot of the, when you look at a lot of the comments that people were making about this incident, again, people were discussing this thing as though it were a win for black people, right? Like him killing this cop was a win, right? Brothers and sisters, how do we know that cop that he killed? This is me using my logic. How do we know that cop he didn't kill wasn't all the way a good cop? We don't know that he wasn't. We just know that the other, and when you listen to the hearing, they're absolutely claiming mental insanity, which makes sense. I think that makes sense because what he could say is, when I was so distraught that the first police officer that I saw, I just saw red and I had to kill him. That makes sense. If he gets a good defense, he might not have to do no time when you really think about it. Right? Just like Carl Lee. Carl Lee didn't do no time. Carl Lee it came down to the psychiatrist. Well, obviously it's a movie. It came down to the final scene, but they based the case heavily on the psychiatrist's testimony, right? If it could be or could not be believable that he was in an altered state of mind mentally, right, and emotionally. Anybody can see if your son is slaughtered and shot down like that, that's going to make a lot of people rage, right? So I understand that. But for the collective, right, for people thinking and saying, well, this is a punch back, this is a kick back. This is something, this is justice for all of our brothers and sisters who have been killed, who have been unjustly mowed down. That's not justice. I would respect better if you mowed down the one that killed your son. That's just me. That would be more justice to me. But just mowing down anybody, that is the movement of a man who is not in control of his mind and his emotions. Yeah. And collectively, we have to not fall into that emotional trap as if this is making way and making strides, right? It's really not. Because now 2 innocent people are dead. Well, 1 innocent person, because it's yet to be proven or seen whether the boy that was shot, and I know a lot of people might not like that, whether the boy that was shot was actually innocent. That's the truth, y'all. We don't know. There again, we have to wait until the facts and all the evidence comes out. If he absolutely did not have a gun, if he absolutely did not point at him, then he was an innocent kid who did not deserve to die. or didn't deserve for that police to to engage in lethal force, right? Or am I saying it right? Yeah, he didn't. But the policeman that got run over, no, that wasn't. That was his defense is gonna be mental instability and mentally insane for the moment. What's going on, Daryl? Peace, King. Yeah. So, but the Hinton case, just listening to people talk about it and speak about it as if it's something where we're getting fed up, and so we are now, you know, committing wanton acts of violence against people who are committing wanton acts of violence against us. It's always the wiser to be more strategic in whatever type of attack that you plan on engaging in. I'm not advocating for anything like that for all the, YouTube authorities out there, whatever. What I'm saying is it's always wiser to have a strategy. Y'all take it for what it is. It's not wise to just go out there and mow innocent people down, because that cop, you don't know what his heart was. You don't know what his resume and his record was, right? All you know is that your son or that your daughter or that your loved one has been killed. Only thing you've done now, or he's done, is made it a little bit more rougher for himself. People were saying he's making a statement and the inmates are going to take care of him, and they probably will. I can see that they probably will, but the thing about being down and incarcerated is the guards are the ones that you really have to worry about, And it, you talk to people who have been in prison, when people are raped, when people are beat to death, oftentimes it's the guards, it's retribution from the guards. They know that if you a person who is locked up for embezzlement, a non-violent crime, and then they put you in there with a violent offender who gets life, who has life, doesn't care about anything, they will harm whatever smaller, weaker prey that you put in there with them. You don't think that they know that you're gonna be in trouble when you go in there with that offender, with that wildcat, with that predator? They know. What I'm saying is, it's rough for child offenders and cop killers and police offenders in there, because now you are not only locked up with the rest of the wolves, but you're locked up with wolves with authority, people who can honestly hurt you and make it worse for you. And that's all I that's what I see that you know that they'll wind up doing, is trying to hurt the brother, behind them walls. That they're trying to hurt him behind the wall. So yeah, but that Hinton, when I saw that, I thought to myself, wow, that's wild and crazy. That is super wild and crazy. But I understand he was where he was mentally, because when you lose a child like that and then have to watch him be mowed down, to have to watch a video of your baby be mowed down like that, that's got to be rough. That will that will that will drive a sane man berserk. No one wants to. You don't even. It's hard for a parent to fathom a child even dying of natural causes before them. Not to mention, someone taking them out, someone killing them. That's hard. So I get it. But again, collectively, that's nothing for us to count as a victory against the oppression that we feel, right? The best way to kick the system back is to unify, is to put our money together, is to teach our children to be, to reside in the company of wise counsel all the days of their lives, and reign with a just staff, and build up a legacy, build up power, get financial literacy, get some land, right? Teach the babies, gain knowledge of self and understanding, right? And come out of a savage, animalistic mentality. Man, listen, I wanted to say a few things. I'm gonna get off of here. I want to say a few things. man, my people are gonna watch this back. This is my, I guess you could say she's like my little niece, and she graduated, man. She is going to a nice college, a Division I college, has a 3.93 GPA, and works, volunteers. She's really doing her parents and the family proud. I wanted to shout her out just because I went and saw her. We had a little party. I went to Nashville, and man, we and the family, we celebrated her, and it was awesome, man. It was really awesome, to see it, and it's just crazy to see the cipher of life, the circle of life, and how it comes back around. And man, it makes you feel good. It's bittersweet. It's bitter because my ass is getting old, but it's sweet because, you know, my peer group, my age group, my age bracket, we are, building legacies with these children. It's another little young brother I was made aware of. Uh, I know his mother, a youngster going to out of Lipscomb Academy in Nashville. He's going to LSU, and it's amazing. Smart kid, super smart kid. Could have went to Stanford, from what they told me, and I thought that was the dopest shit ever. I was like blown away. I was like, wow. I was proud, man. I smiled for these youngsters in my heart and in my soul when I read all the things that they were doing and the accolades that they have accrued. It Yeah, I was like, man, that is wonderful. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Keep sending knowledge and good energy. I'm gonna try. Yeah, but so I wanted to end it on that. And they come from great families, man. They come from great, great families, and they have a support group. They have a village of people that love them, and the children are the best part of us. So I just wanted to say congrats to Anaya and to CJ on y'all's accolades. Hopefully they see this. I know Anaya might see this before CJ sees it, but I'm sure he'll see it as well. But man, keep listening, learning, growing, and developing. Don't let ego, emotion, and entitlement stop you from being your best self. And like I tell all youngsters, may you reside in the may you reside in the company of wise counsel and rule with a reign and reign with a just staff all the days of your life. Yeah, that's what I say. Like I said, I'm getting old, man. But listen. www.leadwithlogic7.com. www.leadwithlogic7.com. And again, what does lead with logic stand for? Letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation. Listen, y'all, I appreciate y'all, man, for coming out, listening. Make sure that y'all tune back in next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're on Central Time, it's 7 o'clock Mountain. You keep going back. But man, I appreciate you guys. And as Minister Malcolm would say when he finished with his speeches, with his lectures, with speaking to the community, to the village, may we all meet again in the light of understanding. Hey, peace and love, y'all.